Hello everybody and welcome to another Outlaws of the Old West video. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different and we're going to be talking about an upcoming update on May 28th. So this news was released just after I got back from a nice dinner. I had a little bit of whiskey at dinner, but we're not going to talk about that. The update is going to be about livestock and building a barn and also farming. So I thought it would be a good idea to kind of go over what we can expect from the update and then also kind of speculate about a few things because there are a few things I'm curious about and a few things I noticed. So yeah, I want to take a look at that. So yeah, let's just get right into it. I'm just going to show the actual patch page that they linked to us. So here we go. Alright, so here we have the livestock update, which will be happening May 28th. It says, "Howdy Outlaws, we are excited to bring you the cow and cowboy with this new update. Build a barn, tend to the new free-roaming cattle or turkeys, and farm up plants with farm beds. This update is coming May 28th, so keep a sharp eye out on the horizon. Here are some screenshots for you to enjoy." So obviously the first thing we see here is we have a barn. And I've been thinking, is it a prefab or is it going to be buildable piece by piece? I have a few thoughts on that later. Also, we notice we have a pitchfork in the picture. So hay, straw, I have a few thoughts about that also. Next picture, we see we have cows that are freely walking around. Also, more importantly, they're grazing, it looks like, so they're eating grass. And then we see the prefab cow shed. I identified the corner, so that's the prefab cow shed over there. And of course, we have a bull, which is definitely a new model to the game, and I have a few thoughts about that also. So next, we have the garden beds, and obviously we see the garden hoe with the garden beds, and we see that we can grow trees. That looks like possibly corn, potatoes. Not sure what else everything is. I'd have to get a closer look, but that's really exciting that this is finally coming to us. Lots of implications with farming. And lastly, turkeys. Turkeys have come out of nowhere. I can only assume that it's just going to be turkey meat. Right? There's really feathers, I guess. Maybe we can use turkey feathers to decorate with. So yeah, that is what we were given. So first, I want to talk about this building. Do we think it's a prefab or do we think we're going to be able to actually build it piece by piece? So I'm actually split 50-50 right now because if you look at it, it's got two pillars on the outside and then it's got this big, double height door. I do think if it's a prefab that we're not going to be able to open the door and I don't think there's going to be anything in the barn. I actually think that if this is a prefab, it's going to be what spawns the bull, because we already have the cow thing that spawns the cows, but this would spawn the bull, right? Wouldn't that make sense? So back to the pillars. In order for a roof like that to work, you would need supportive pillars coming all the way down right around here to keep this supported, to keep the gables supported up top, or maybe those are half slopes. It's kind of hard to tell with this perspective. But anyway, next on my it's probably a prefab list is the fact that you can't see the foundations, and I don't think these are foundations because this looks like one big door piece, and if that were the case, you can't put a door between two foundations. I don't think. I could be wrong about that. Plus, this is a repeated pattern over and over again without the angles being changed on the bottom part of this dirt. I think that's supposed to be here. But it could be freeform building pieces. A friend of mine, an admin on my private server, actually said that, well, there could be pillars on the inside of the barn, which is very true. There could be pillars on the inside of the barn. And also these windows look very like modular windows, as well as these could be the half pieces that you would use to build. This would be the fully sloped roof. These are the triangle pieces. The only thing that's tripping me out is the door. Also, it's on a really weird slope, so it's hard to tell, and things are skewed sideways, so also hard to tell. Next thing about this picture is the pitchfork. So that would imply hay or straw, and hay obviously used to feed animals. So does that mean that we are no longer going to have to spam honey to feed our animals? Are we actually going to be able to use hay that doesn't spoil, that would make more sense in an Old West setting. Other thing is straw. If we have straw, animals usually don't eat straw. There's no nutritious value in straw. What I've used it for with my horses is for bedding. I mean, I use pellets now, but when I lived in Ireland and I worked on a farm where horses frequently gave birth, we would use straw as bedding because it's much softer than a hard concrete stable floor. So it was just used for bedding. I'm ranting now, but that's whiskey. Anyway, so I don't think straw should be used for animal nutrition. I'm hoping it's not going to be. But something else straw could be used for is building. If you look at adobe structures, they're used by mixing mud, clay, and sometimes straw to build, and that would be something we would see in the desert areas or semi-arid areas. The Native Americans used to build adobe buildings. I've been to Taos, I've seen them, really awesome. So yeah, that's my guessing with straw of what maybe we would see. I don't know how bedding would work. If you think about it, how would bedding work? Because there's really no stalls to put individual animals in, unless, and here's where we get to the second picture, if we add cows and bulls together, they will reproduce, and maybe they would have babies, and maybe we would need to construct a place for the cow to have the baby and put the straw in it as bedding. This is probably way, over the scope of me. But anyway, that could be something to think about. Okay, so we've gone over the pitchfork, the barn, the straw, the hay. We have the bulls, which, as I just mentioned, could imply that we will be able to perhaps breed cattle instead of just having them spawn out of nowhere in a cow barn and then die quickly of hunger and thirst a few hours later, unless you feed them copious amounts of honey. But maybe in this case, we will be able to have calves, babies. And that's a pretty cool thought. Alright, so next thing we have is farming. Obviously, we all have been looking forward to farming. Interesting to see the garden beds. I don't really have too much to say about this besides it is now confirmed that we can plant trees and harvest trees. So hey, those of us who are interested in making an orchard of types, that'll definitely be a thing. Maybe some apples or peaches or something. And lastly, as I said, turkeys, meat. I don't know what else we would be using the turkeys for besides meat. And it looks like they're out in the wild. We can see 2 turkeys here. So I could only imagine that we're going to have to catch them. My admin brought up an interesting idea. We're not going to be lassoing turkeys, right? So how are we going to be capturing them? Kind of a good question. Also, my admin, Mel, he brought up another really good point about seeds. Where are we going to get the seeds from? Is there going to be a general store where we buy the seeds? Oh, speaking of that, one of the first wizards mentioned that there is going to be a patch next week before this big update. So what I'm wondering is if maybe they're going to add a general store where we can buy seeds. And then obviously if we can buy seeds, that's how we would plant them. And then after we harvest the plants, we get more seeds back, that whole deal. So yeah, it's really a lot to think about. So we speculated a little, we looked at the patch. I want to know what you guys think. Do you think this is a prefabricated building that's going to allow us to spawn bulls, or do you think we're going to be able to build it piece by piece? I am honestly on the fence about it. Mel and I talked about it for probably a good half hour, 45 minutes, and we're both on the fence about it. We really hope it's going to be individual building pieces, but, prefabs have been pretty popular lately. Alright, so if you've stuck with me through my rant this far, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. I hope you're as excited as I am about the next big update. And I think I'm going to leave it there. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you're enjoying your game. I'm saying I hope a lot. Anyway, enjoy your games, and I will see you in the next video.